Hi again everyone, I hope this finds you well. So picking up from the last video of our little doodling with diamonds piece, this is where we're at. Very simple little design drawn on initially with a pen, dotted designs around the glass. I found if I wanted to repeat the similar sort of shape flower, I would maybe go one there, one there, one there, one there, and then a different shape flower there, and then start basically filling in the spaces. And I may still add more at the end, we will see, but it is doodling after all, so there's no pressure and only diamonds. Nothing else, only diamonds. And if you don't have diamonds and you only have a stone, then obviously that's what you're going to use. But the rule in this little exercise is no rubber, no shading. Any shading that you're going to do, you're creating with the darkness of a clear glass coming through. So either dots and dashes and cross hatches and that kind of thing, stippling in an area where you want it to look a sort of a half tone, if you like. Lots of little patterny bits. And so basically I've done most of the outline and I am just starting to fill in it's like colouring in. Oh, love a colouring in, don't you? So let's get on with it. Enjoy. Well, to start off with, I've got a sort of a medium-sized little diamond burr. This one is actually a sintered diamond, which means it is diamond all the way through, rather than just a coating. So it does last longer, but it is a little bit more expensive. Anyway, it does the same job as a normal coated diamond. Lots of water, and I'm starting to play. Just whatever comes to mind. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just literally colouring in, making sure that I leave a lot of clear glass. Gives it that kind of lacy effect. As I said earlier, it replaces shadows. It gives the impression of half-tones when you add sort of shapes, decorations inside a shape. The leaves I've kind of made relatively solid. Well, not all of them. There's a couple that are slightly are like outlines, but I've done a sort of a textured thing in some of the leaves. These I am doing a typical leafy texture, very simplified. A lot of these sketches that I've done on this glass are very straightforward, simple, flat, naive. I haven't even done any bendy leaves. I think they're all straight and flat. I haven't engraved any buds, flower buds, or flowers at funny angles. They're all facing forward, and just pretend they're all facing the sun and the sun is above them and they're all looking upwards. There's nothing complicated about this whatsoever, nothing stressful. It is just relaxing fun. I'm sure I'm going to do some more of these because they are just so much fun. I think it honestly lends itself to so many different subjects. Here I've got a rat's tail for some just smaller details. As I was saying, it lends itself to so many different subjects. You can doodle the cosmic sky, the sea creatures and shells and that sort of thing. Doodle fish shapes. Doodle music.
doodle music notes all over the place, throwing in the odd outline of a guitar or a piano, very simplified. You can have so much fun. This doodle, obviously, is just nature. And it's completely and utterly fantasy. Nothing is real. None of the insects are copied from anything. They are just insect type shapes. And of course, the decoration of their wings now is completely random, completely decorative. It doesn't matter. You can put a whole lot of figure eights in the middle, a whole lot of musical notes in the middle. It all, when you stand back, it will all look like it's half-tone decoration or a lacy decoration. Yeah, you'll see, if you try and keep in mind while you're working a kind of a mirror effect. If you can do the one side and then go straight to the other side and copy it in a mirror, then that's basically what you're trying to do. Quite simple. I didn't actually. I didn't speed up this video in any way. Normally I speed it up to 120% and sometimes even 150%. But this is all done in real time. It's showing you in real time action, although obviously I have cut various bits out of it. But the actual action of engraving is done in real time, shown in real time. This little glass is lovely, soft lead crystal, so I don't have any trouble at all making my marks on the glass. And of course the water makes it that much easier. If you are stuck with water and you don't have any kind of drip feed system, just use a little tub with a bit of water in, have a bar of soap nearby and a sponge. You can keep the sponge in your left hand, and you make sure that you have a very wet sponge, and every now and again pick up some more water, dip it onto the bar of soap, because that makes the water stay on the surface of the glass just that little bit longer, rather than running off the glass like off a duck's back. And in the previous videos I have explained the drip feed system. It is literally a little two-way gang valve that you can buy from a pet shop that caters for aquariums. So I'm not really explaining my engraving here, because it is so basic and straightforward and quite obvious what I'm doing. All the burrs I'm using are, of course, diamond burrs. The only difference is they are different sizes and slightly different shapes. Flicking towards the middle with this little flower and leaving tiny little areas of clear glass just for that little added bit of shading. And quite frankly, I'm going quite deep at the top and then flicking in lightly, so you've got a 3D effect from the depth. being a little bit lazy. Normally I turn the glass around and pull it towards me because it's far more efficient. But I'm sort of pushing sideways, which is not really that neat. But this is a doodle. Got to remember that. The amount of times that I have almost picked up a stone or a rubber, it's so automatic to do that, and I've had to stop myself. No, stick to the diamonds, that's all you're allowed. So now these petals I'm doing almost like a leaf. Well, the typical sort of daisy petal has a couple of sort of stripes down the middle, and this one, don't ask me what kind of flower it is. All made up. I'm just leaving one sort of ridge down the middle of the petal. So engraving quite deep. You don't have to, of course, if you happen to be engraving on a thinner glass. Just keep it to the surface. You still will get the same sort of effect, but perhaps leave a little bit more of a space in between if you haven't got the depth to play with, because mine will benefit from going deep. The shadows will give it that extra effect, and so my little dark line down the middle does not have to be that thick or that wide. But if you're just surface engraving, leave it slightly wider. I like the idea of all the different strokes. These are like little blobby strokes. There's longer strokes. There's skinny strokes. There's straight lines. There's curvy lines. There's a little spider. Got to have a little spider. Just using the rat's tail to add some teeny tiny details. Of course, as I go along as well, if I see something that requires some neatening on the edges, I will tackle it. And certainly at the end of completing the glass, I go around and I look for any little bits that need to be neatened on the edges. If the edges may be a little bit rough or I see a little chippy bit, I'll get a little diamond and I'll smooth that out. And you will notice that even though some of these flowers are similar sort of shapes, I am still decorating them slightly differently inside. Because why not? So in the middle of this flower is like a little mini flower, and you will see that I'm producing that little cushiony kind of effect. So it's got, it's deep, but with the line similar to the leaves that goes down to the center. So on the outlines, I'm going really, really very deep. So nothing like what I would normally tell you, because flowers are delicate, and I normally would be telling you to don't leave big sausage type outlines around your flowers, and with this job we are doing completely the opposite. Yeah, some fun stipple effect with rat's tail, nice and sharp, this rat's tail. I'm not being too careful about the spacing. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly the same amount of space between each dot, but certainly leave a good amount of clear glass. Otherwise, it will all start to blur a bit. I think here now I have got not a rat's tail, but I've got a little ball diamond, very small, and I'm just going over some of these basic shapes. These particular leaves, I left them just as linear leaves. A slight contrast to the rest of the decoration. They're almost like feathers. I don't know where I've gone. Come back. Aha. Going to get a bigger one again. And some more leaves. Very simple. So the ends of the points of the leaves we will neaten up later on with a smaller burr. I rather like these little swirly flowers. It's just so simple, but they're quite effective. That swirl in the middle just gives it an intriguing depth. It's most bizarre. See, I don't often let my hair down like this. So on this flower, I'm not doing a heavy outline. I'm just literally stroking from the outside in so that there is actually a kind of slightly bubbly effect at the end of the petal. Good girl. Turn the glass to pull it in nicely. Much easier, much more efficient than it's the sideways angle. It's that, I mean, pushing it or pulling it is much easier. Sideways angle is not easy to make a neat little flick. So this twirl in the middle is very deep. I wouldn't go as deep if I was further up towards the rim, obviously, even though it is pretty thick up there. I don't go quite as deep. So here I've just decided to use a smaller diamond for the middle part of the flower. So it's a thinner line just for a bit of variety. Neatening up these leaves. They invariably need another going over because my original line was just a little bit shoddy. It really needs to be neater. So I'm adding an interesting design to the middle of these petals. I wasn't sure about it, but quite frankly, in the end, it's quite effective, almost like a snowflake. But it sort of matches the leaves. Yep, that's quite effective. And a tiny little line in the middle flower. So this flower is really quite different to the other one with the stipple effect, and yet it's the same shape. So here is another little moth type creature. Back to the rat's tail. I've really got my water dripping quite fast, and I had to wipe the lens of the camera a couple of times because it was spitting, certainly with the larger burs, not so much with the smaller burs, but spitting up to the lens, which was very annoying. And the water ran out right at the end, just as I was finishing the glass, so timed it well. Now here, no, I looked at this little shape and I thought, now what is that? Are they leaves, but they seem to be facing the wrong way? Is it a little insect? And I couldn't work it out. I was quite befuddled. I had no idea what I had meant it to be in my original sketch. So I just played around. And the next thing, it became a flower. Albeit a slightly wonky flower. I must admit that after I had finished this video, I thought, I was rushing a little bit, but I thought you really can go back and add more, especially if you've got a thicker glass or a thicker crystal like I've got. I could have gone back and added some more like tiny little dots around the middle of the flowers, which is deep, because you don't necessarily, as I say, have to have the clear glass to give the effect. We have got the fact that I'm going deep, and so you've got light casting a shadow where your engraving is deeper, so that you have an extra advantage if you are going deeper into the glass. So I could have done that. For example, where I'm going around now, I could come back with a tiny diamond and do some deeper little dots. And hey, there's nothing stopping you actually engraving right through the glass in places. That would be fun. I don't think many people are going to be drinking out of this glass. It's probably more of a decorative piece. It's rather small for a wine glass anyway, and nobody drinks port anymore. I don't know what kind of glass it is, to be honest, but it's really cute for my little videos. Did you see the little worm? I put some dots on the worm that just gave it that little bit of texture. Using the rat's tail to create very, very fine lines is a very effective half tone for this sort of medium, or this technique, if you like, not medium, for this technique. Just adding some tiny little almost like thorn effects to this little bit of foliage. Neatening the edges. Probably not the right burr to be neatening an edge. You want a round burr really to neaten the edge. So I'm using this rat's tail just to add some points to the leaves. It's a good idea to make that extra effort to go back and give it a finished effect. I could have taken this design right down to the bottom of the bowl, right to the stem. I was trying to finish the video quite quickly. But do that, you know, use the whole glass. Some more little thorny bits. They're cute. They just add a little bit of something to that bit of foliage. I rather like them. So this is a very, very small diamond ball burr. And back to the water, because I actually was working dry. Now we're going back to the water. And I'm adding some little swirly bits. I'm looking around and I'm looking for spaces. And I'm simply filling them with swirls. I can't make up my mind, can I? Oh dear. It's amazing, as soon as you try and do your little swirl and the glass is dry, the difference is phenomenal. Immediately the burr wants to slip and jump, but as soon as there's water there, it grips so much better, and you can carry on with your smooth line. Of course, when it does do a little hop, skip and a jump, go back and neaten it up, just slowly and carefully. You can see that I'm putting it behind the flowers and leaves in places. Of course, you can do your swirl on the top of a flower. I suppose because I've gone so deep, you want to sort of avoid that, because you've got to go even deeper throughout in order to make it nice and neat on top. You don't want it to go all squiggly, squaggly. But it's very easy to put your swirl behind the item. Gosh, I am putting rather a lot. I'm glad I didn't think about it, because I probably would have put dots just for those extra little spaces. Sometimes in fact in the old days, I used to do little groups of 3 dots, and they were like tiny little miniature flowers. I should have done that, really. So you find a space, of course, near the bottom. I decided, rather than put it anywhere else on the glass, I put the signature so it kind of joins in to the design. And then my water ran out. You saw how it suddenly started pouring as I finished the signature. The water ran out. That is hilarious. I love it when it does that. Something's meant to be. And so there you have it. A very lacy little doodly diamond glass. Really enjoyed doing that, and we will do more of this sort of thing because it is such fun and there's no stress involved at all. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy doodling with diamonds. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you soon. Bye for now.